All right, everybody, welcome back to the podcast. A little bit of housekeeping though before we really get into
Housekeeping.
it.
Sorry, I was.
Oh God.
Anyway,
all right, a little bit of housekeeping before we get back into it. So one of the reasons why we've been gone for so long is because I have been having an existential crisis when it comes to this podcast. So everything is going to be a little bit different. We're going to have a little bit more of a structure to these episodes. Even the way I release the episodes will be a little bit different. And in addition to that, the name is changing. I'm fully embracing the fact that there are too many safe space podcasts out there. So we are now Sydney's Safe Space Podcast.
but we're not.
Not Sydney's. It's not Sydney's Safe Space Podcast, but it's Sydney's Safe Space.
Was it not Sydney's Safe Space before?
That was the name of the YouTube channel, but that was not the name of the podcast. So now it is officially a Sydney's Safe Space. I'm letting you know that now. Letting you know that now. But let me formally introduce myself. I'm your host, Sydney Rosant. I talk about everything from politics, sports, culture, relationships, entertainment, you name it, we talk about it. And I'm here with my co-host,
Spencer Rosant.
You guys know my little brother. But yeah, so let's get into it. So the way I want to start every episode, because this is Sydney Safe Space, I want to know for you, Spencer, recently, and we will do this literally every episode, so get used to it,
Right.
okay?
Okay.
What is one thing that you have been doing intentionally to make yourself feel safe? Where do you feel you're safe? Yes. Where do you feel you're safest?
In my bed. But like, I don't know, when I'm being like productive.
Right.
In some way. Does it make sense?
I feel you.
I don't know. I've just been focusing on my productivity even more than usual recently.
That's good. That's good. I love that for you. But we're going to get into the meat of the episode, the clip of the day. Okay. So we have a clip because you brought up a topic. And I was like, this is kind of a funny video that I felt like related. So hold on.
What's the craziest thing you got the ick for?
I don't like to see happiness sometimes. I don't know. I just saw a man like smiling, like, after a party when you're popping balloons, and like he was popping the balloon and he was like playing with it before he popped it. And I looked over and I was just like, all the sexual tension leaving the room.
So this is why you're single, I guess.
Yeah.
I like that.
It's my fault.
So yeah, you said that you wanted to talk about the ick, and I literally typed into the TikTok search bar. I typed in the ick, and that was the first thing. That was like the first video to pop up, and I thought it was hilarious. And they was calling her evil Zendaya in the comments, and I was just like, yeah, but. What do you think about the video, but then in general, what do you think about like the ick?
Okay, I'll start with the video. There's a lot to unpack there. Wow. Yeah, she's not gonna be in a relationship for a long time. Cause that's like how does that even happen? Like he's popping a balloon. Like what more do you want him to do? Not
pop the balloon, obviously, so that she doesn't get the ick.
Wow. That's crazy. I didn't even know that people could get the ick from stuff like that. And then in general, it's like I don't know. I don't understand the concept. Like I can understand the concept of being like, oh, there's something that I don't find appealing in this person that I'm either talking to or as my partner, but I don't understand how it changes your feelings for somebody. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like you've ever experienced getting the ick from someone, or have you given somebody the ick?
Well,
we have talked about that, I think, on the podcast, right?
Maybe while I was talking about all my relationship experiences,
right?
But not like I don't think we deep dived.
Mm-hmm. Do you from your recollection, have you ever spoken to someone and they gave you the ick? Or do you feel like you got like just this? And I think we kind of have to to define the ick.
Yeah,
But like,
no,
have you
that's
ever
important.
just gotten this feeling of like, ooh, like, ugh, I don't want to talk to you anymore?
I don't think in a romantic sense, no.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe like somebody like a potential friend, and I'm just like, wait, wait.
Yeah.
I think a friendic, sure, yeah, but not like somebody that I could see as a partner, and then I'm like, ew, no, you're actually gross. Because I don't get it.
You don't get the ick, or you
I
don't
don't
get the concept of the ick?
Okay, so what's the definition?
We can look up a definition. I don't really know. I feel like the ick
What's
feels
your
like
definition?
a colloquialism.
Okay, wait.
Or you want my definition?
No, we should come up with our own definitions and then compare it to like an Urban Dictionary one.
Okay, so my personal definition of the ick would be an unexplainable feeling that you experience
Okay.
towards somebody that you have romantic interest in.
Okay.
And that unexplainable feeling causes you to no longer want to explore the potential of a relationship with them. But it's not necessarily something that you can describe or put into words. Like, there are certain red flags where it's like, oh, he was mean to his mom, can't do it. You know what I'm saying? Oh, he yelled at a waiter, can't do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, these little things are, oh, like, he smells terrible, can't do it. So it's like, there's like those things where it's like, okay, I can't do it for these specific reasons. Whereas like the ick is like, I can't do it, but I don't know why I can't do it. Because there's nothing actually wrong. There's nothing actually wrong with this person. I just can't do it. Because of X, Y, or Z, but I can't. But this is the thing, right?
So,
I think. Okay, I'm sorry. Let me finish real quick. I think the issue with the ick is that the X, Y, and Z of why you can't see yourself with this person doesn't really make sense. Like, it might be something that you do yourself, but because that person does it, you don't like them. So that's what makes the ick, I feel like, so strange.
Okay, so the only thing I want to change by your definition is the inexplicable or whatever you said.
So like the unexplainable.
Unexplainable. I want to change it to illogical.
Oh,
Because I don't think that, I think that you can explain what it is, because it's not just thin air. 'Cause
right.
if you just lose feelings for someone, then that's what happened. You lost feelings. But I think that it's something that's not sensible. It's like there's nothing this person did to make you
feel that way.
Yeah.
Is that you projecting though? Is that partially a projection?
No, I don't think
Of your
so.
okay, I was just wondering if it was like
Because even
of
before
your
the ick experience, I think that I don't know. I just feel like the ick is low key like done.
I think the ick is the result of people becoming very like hypercritical of one another and themselves. And I hate to be the person, I hate blaming social media for everything, because I think it's like very corny, and I think that a lot of issues preexisted or existed prior to social media being like a phenomenon. But I do feel like people are so comfortable picking each other apart. Like, like if somebody posts something on Instagram and like, let's say something small, minute is off, there could be thousands of comments just picking at that person. Like, oh, their shoes are ugly, or oh, their contacts, they wore colored contacts, they look stupid. Like, it's just like pick. And I think that we would be foolish to believe that mindset wouldn't carry over into dating. I'm trying to get this Urban Dictionary thing. Okay, I got it.
Okay.
All right, so the Urban Dictionary definition of ick is something someone does that is an instant turn off for you, making you instantly hate the idea of being with them romantically. Okay, so this is a sentence. OMG, did you see insert name of crush picking his nose? That is such an ick. I'm not gonna lie, picking your nose is a little bit.
Yeah, that's bad.
That is a little bit icky.
That is bad.
It depends though. If it's like a little, like, I'll give it to you, but if you're really digging for gold up there, absolutely not.
I can't support that either. But fun fact, I was actually sent a screenshot of that definition.
Oh, you were.
Yeah. So
Did they give you did the person that we were like referring to like when she was saying that you gave her the ick, like did she say why?
no. Wait. Let's think about it. Okay, so should I just go into the story?
I don't think you have to go through the full story because I don't think it's necessary
Okay.
unless you want to.
Well, I'm trying to backtrack. I'm trying to trace my
But
steps.
I'm just saying, like when she sent that to you, was it like, hey, you talk too much, you do this too much, or
No. Okay, so what happened was I was like, oh, how are we talking, but you're not going to talk to me? And
you said
then
what?
I was like, how are we talking, but you're not even speaking to me?
Yeah.
And then it was kind of radio silent, and then it goes, she got the ick and I did too. And I was like, what does that mean? Because I was like reading it, and I was like, what?
And it was her friend that sent that
Yeah,
to
it was
you,
her
right?
friend that sent it. And I was like, wait, what? And then I was thinking about it. I was like, she got the ick and I did too. She got the ick and I did. I was like, oh. Her friend took her phone. I was like, damn. And then I sent question marks. And I was like, because like I sent question marks right after I read it. Because I was like, what are you talking? Like, what's going on?
Right.
And then instead of like having like a conversation about it, it was just the screenshot, and I was like, oh.
Dang.
And then there was some text under it. It was like, but nothing was cleared up.
Yeah, about what you did
Yeah.
specifically that like was such a turn off.
Yeah, and then it's like I wasn't gonna ask for like clearance on like.
Yeah, like whatever.
Yeah.
Bah. But I feel like I've definitely given people, I think I've definitely given people the ick. Like, we were talking about this off camera, but there was one time where I was just having, this was like the initial texting conversation I had with somebody that I had matched with. And they were talking about like what they had going on with their lives or whatever. And I was like, okay, period. Like, look at you go. That was the last correspondence we had. I was like, dang. Okay. Well, but at the end of the day, what I'm realizing is like with like the ick or with anything, right, for that matter, if you're going to live authentically, you're bound to turn people off. Like I'm going to give a lot of people the ick because I am no longer feeling like I need to fit in or feeling like I want to be like I'm not in a I cannot speak right now. Wow. That was really bad. I'm just not in a space where I am willing to contort myself to fit people's image of what is cool or what is acceptable. So like I'm cool with giving everybody the ick. Everybody can get the ick because all I need is at least just one or two people to be cool with who I am for real. The rest of y'all don't matter, truly.
That's interesting. It's very interesting. I don't know. Do you think that like, so you think that the ick was started by social media? I feel like,
well,
I feel like the
social
ick
media
has
is
something to do with commitment issues, to be quite honest, because it doesn't make sense. Like there is something that you can find that's like, ew, but like that shouldn't, that I just don't see how you can have feelings for someone and also be instantly turned off like immediately by something that's not a deal breaker. I
think that, well, multiple things can be true at one time, right? And so I think that, especially I think the ick is primarily terminology used by like women or girls. And I think everything plays a role in it. I think there is the aspect of just having commitment issues and just not really wanting to give of yourself to somebody else, and then just making up excuses. And then I also think there's this aspect of like masculinity, right? And wanting the person that you're with to fit masculinity completely. Like when that girl in the video says like, and she says it jokingly, but it's kind of like a crazy thing. It's kind of a crazy thing to believe. Yeah. Like that if a man is just happy, that is unattractive. So what you're suggesting is that a man has to be cold. He has to be, he has to be stoic. He has to be just like these mean looking caveman type. You know, you get what I'm saying? Like just like this archaic idea of masculinity, you can't be happy. You can't, you know, it makes no, and I'm not gonna say it makes no sense, but it just shows us how restrictive we really are. And I think that the social media part of it is wanting to make sure that your partner fits that for other people, right? So it's like if you see him, you know, just being happy, lively, popping balloons, giggling and stuff, it's like, ooh, that's not manly. Ooh, I can't show off somebody like that. And so I think that all of these things are kind of coming into play, and we just call it the ick, and it's a joke, and it can be lighthearted, but there is that, you know, that undertone of like, there is a little bit of a negative undertone that I think we have to, you know, excavate. We have to acknowledge it.
Okay, wait. You talking about masculinity? This question is just in my head. Do you think that women can be sexist to men?
No.
Really?
So it's like, okay, so anytime like we talk about like oppression, right? A group has to have power to oppress. So women, this is not Barbie land, right? Women can't, don't have the power to oppress men. I do think what I will say is that women can be misogynistic.
I thought misogynistic was only male to female.
No, misogynistic is just you hate women.
What? Wait, so you're saying that women can just also hate other women?
Yes, that's very common. Extremely common. But I think, and not even just women, but like you can hate and have a general disregard for femininity. And so that the way that you would see that in the world would be a woman not wanting to see a man have any feminine traits. You get what I'm saying?
Okay.
So it's not that's not sexism. It's very problematic, and it makes it very hard, I think, for men to fully explore their identities and their personalities, and their various interests. And it causes you to live a life that is inherently restrictive, which sucks. That's not that's not why we don't exist to be restricted. We exist to explore, in my opinion. But it's not sexism.
Wait, so what's your definition of sexism then?
Well, sexism is pretty much, now I don't have an exact definition coming off the top of my head, but I would say that sexism is when you discriminate someone on the basis of their gender.
Yeah, no, that's fair. But I feel like there's a term that I'm looking for that's like so is there any way that like there can be like a female to male like misogyny, or is it just
There is a term for it. It's called misandry or
Really?
misandry.
That's
Yeah.
what I was thinking about. Yeah, because I feel like that's what I was thinking of when I was thinking about it. Because I just think that it's weird for, like, I don't remember what it was. I think it was like a Reddit story or something that was like talking about how like this husband was trying to get his wife to do like tasks that are like typically back in the day associated with like femininity or whatever.
She was trying to get her husband to do them.
The husband
Trying to get the
was
woman.
trying to get the wife
Okay.
to do like the dishes, like, you know, be in the
Do your
kitchen
wifely duties.
Yeah, as a woman should, type thing. And then later in the story, after, it was like, oh, you should be doing this as a man should. And I was like, but also the woman was complaining about how the man was associating her with the like womanly tasks. And so I was like, I don't really see how being like, oh, as a man should is gonna help you in your situation. Like, I feel like it's hypocritical. Does that make sense?
When a woman says stuff like that, like as a man should,
yeah.
it is hypocritical. It's not necessarily misandry, but it is hypocritical. You feel me? So speaking of icks, commitment issues, all of those things, what I am really interested to hear, I want to hear your perspective. Do you think that this whole ick, everything being an ick, is maybe evidence of people's standards being too high?
I don't think that people's standards are high enough, low key.
Oh,
Oh,
Oh.
on that note,
Oh.
I have noticed a weird phenomena recently.
Okay.
Where, okay, this isn't gonna sound right because I don't want this to be like all girls are the same. But like, I've noticed this thing where there's a lot. Okay, I'm not gonna say like all because it's not true. But there's a lot of girls out there that just cannot find it within themselves to be interested in the men that they know are gonna treat them well.
Oh.
And no, because I saw a TikTok. Okay, well, that's never.
I'm sorry. When TikTok is the evidence. Well, I saw a TikTok. I saw a TikTok.
Okay.
Go on.
Okay. And it was like when you just can't find it to be interested in the boy that you knew was going to treat you right. And then everybody in the comments, like, I could not find a single comment that wasn't like, felt relatable. And I was like, I don't understand. Like, I don't like, do you guys not like yourselves? Like, that to me is incomprehensible.
Okay, my one rebuttal.
I just can't find the spark for him. I don't know.
My one rebuttal is, so I think it's interesting, right? When there is a path that's left unexplored by people, right? They are currently in a situationship, or they're talking to someone, or they're trying to get somebody that they know won't treat them well to treat them well. And so they're like, but I have all these other options who are going to treat me so much better. You don't know that. There's no guarantee that the person you think that's going to treat you better will treat you better. Because in my experience, what I have seen, the guy that sits on the sidelines waiting, especially if you make somebody wait for you,
they go a little crazy on the side.
by the time
Start losing their shit on the bench.
By the time you want to sub that person in, they think they Kobe Bryant. They forget what. And I'm not saying that that phenomenon you're describing is not true, because I think there is some validity to it, for sure. For sure. But I just think the idea that and I think there's also like not just women, everybody overestimates how much pull they have, how amazing they are. And they overestimate how many options they have. They act like, and these girls act like, oh, this guy, he could treat me so much better. Da, 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 right? That guy's probably dating somebody else right now. Is that guy even really an option, or are you just making this up in your head to kind of come as a way to comfort yourself because you're in a bad situation currently?
But sometimes you can tell. I think this is more talking about when not when you have not when you're in the game and you have a roster. I think it's talking about when you're talking to one person and you just can't find it to continue going on to a relationship with them because you just can't find the depth of feelings for them. But what is up with that? Because I feel like it's only a girl thing. Because I think that if there's any situation where there's this girl that a guy could be treated right by and he has that option, the only reason why he wouldn't choose it is if he is a player and he's playing with I feel like it's more intentional.
Okay.
I feel like.
Okay.
If a guy's not going to choose a girl, because
because when you said that, I was like, Spencer, please.
Okay, yeah. It's not true, but.
So what you're saying, okay, so here's what you're saying. The guy who, and I'm sorry for interrupting you, but the guy who has a girl who he's compatible with and knows that the girl will do right by him and decides to play the field, is doing so willingly. I'm a player right now, I'm not committing.
Exactly.
Whereas when a girl does it, it's I don't know why I can't, and I just
That's
can't.
what I feel like. And I can understand it. What's the deal?
I think relationships require, or not necessarily a relationship, but I think there's certain things that you have to have with someone in order to see it with them. So I think you have to have a level of chemistry right?
Okay.
So that means, and I think that is usually the element that can be missing in these
Okay.
types of situations. But like, you need to be, you and that person just need to have like like chemistry in the sense that like you go back and forth with each other. You're both really attracted to each other. There's that like vibe that is just inherently like intimate and romantic. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? That separates it from being a platonic situation
Okay.
or relationship.
Uh-huh.
And then I think you also have to be aligned in your values. You know what I'm saying? You have to have similar value system, kind of similar value system. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And similar beliefs, whatever, what have you. And then I think you have to have like kind of have a connection. Like, what are the things that you like doing with each other? You know what I'm saying? Stuff like
Okay.
that. Something that brings you together. You have to have, I feel like, at least 2 of those 3 things for you to have something. Like, you can't just have chemistry. You can't just be aligned in your values, or you can't just have like a connection to that person. You have to have a combination. You need to have like all 3. This is my opinion. Or you need to have like at least 2. And I think sometimes there are things that are missing. Like, and I feel like I've been in that situation before where it's like I've liked somebody and I'm like, I think there might be something here if I really just dove in.
Okay.
But I don't really want to. And there's something about this person, not necessarily that I don't like, but it's just like it's stopping me from feeling the urge to do so, from feeling the urge to like go there. And when I reflected on like the reasons why, typically there was a couple things missing. Like the person I'm like thinking of, we had a very similar value system, but we didn't really have a connection and we didn't really have any chemistry. And so it was like, man, it's somebody that I like, we really get each other in this way, but there's nothing else here.
I see. I just don't get why it's so relatable. But that's my thing. That's what we kind of went on a roundabout. But I feel like that's why I don't feel like standards are that high. Because it's like for you to be head over heels for the toxic one, but you just can't find it in you for somebody that actually reaches your standards. I'm like, are your standards that high then? Like, and I feel like it seems like a very common thing. So to me, I don't know. I think that also the ick is usually like occurs in situations like that where it's like, oh, the guy that like will treat you right, but you just can't find it in you.
Mm-hmm. I think like, well, I think that when we talk about dating, sometimes we like oversimplify things, right? Where we're like, here's the good guy and the bad guy.
That's
and
fair.
like,
That's
why
fair.
does they only like the bad guys? They don't like the good guys.
That's fair.
Whatever. And then like, even when people say like, oh, like, why are girls in these toxic situationships? What does that mean? Like, when we talk about
true.
toxic, like, I hate that word because it's so vague. Like, a toxic relationship could be an abusive relationship, and then a toxic relationship could just be your boyfriend doesn't text you back every 30 minutes.
That's true.
So it's like, what exactly is it? And then the other thing is like, I think people have to explore the relationships that they have thoroughly, right? And sometimes I think that like, even if it maybe isn't necessarily, actually, I want to amend my statement because I was about to go somewhere and now I'm not sure if I want to go there. I think that sometimes people feel like they have to see it through, right? See if there's something here. And maybe there is a guy who seems like he's really good and he might treat you really well, but you have something with this other person. You know what I'm saying? And you want to see.
This is a multiple person scenario.
Yeah, because I'm just saying, like, I'm talking about the girls who are saying that like they're in this situation where it's not fulfilling, right? But they know that there's somebody else who could treat them better, but they still want to see the other one through. And I think that's what's happening. they just want to see it through. Is there a chance that the person that they're with, they have an established connection with? Is there a chance that that person can evolve into the partner that they desire? And I'm not saying that's the way. I wouldn't suggest people do that. I was
gonna ask that,
I would not suggest that you try to
see it through attitude.
Yeah. No, not until somebody puts a ring on your finger. And not even then, not until you get on the altar and say, I do. Well, I say you should try and see it through. And even then, there are some exceptions.
There are
so,
a lot of exceptions.
like, you know, I think that's just the attitude that some people have. Is like, I want to see this situation through because I've already put in so much time. I don't know you. I think you might treat me well, but, you know.
That's fair. Well,
Dang.
right. I think, okay, so why do you think that people are getting the ick because their standards are too high? Like, why would standards be too high in this day
I
and
was
age?
more so asking, like, is that what that is? Are the standards too high for people? So I think, like, standards are we view standards from this very superficial perspective where it's about height. It's about how much money you make. It's about if you have a degree. Okay. But people don't really actually have standards when it comes to, like, the quality of the relationship and how they're being treated. It's like, once you pass this threshold of how you need to look and how much money you make, then that's it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's all you gotta do is just pass. All you gotta do is check these couple boxes, and then you're good to go. And I'm like, well, that's barely even. That's not even a surface level.
What do you think standards should be?
They vary based on each person.
That's a lame answer. Okay, well,
I mean, it's like, because for me, what I would suggest and what I've seen, what I've heard, and from other podcasters and relationship experts.
Oh, relationship experts.
Yeah. Instead of having, like, a list of things that you want that person to be, create a list of what you want to feel in the relationship. So, like, I want to feel loved. I want to feel respected.
Okay.
I want to feel cared for. I want to feel admired. I want to feel, I don't know. There's a whole bunch of things, you know what I'm saying, that you could put down, like, this is how I want to feel. And then in every interaction that you have with that person, are they meeting that threshold?
Okay. That's interesting.
And so I think it's a different way of looking at it. I'm not saying throw your other standards out the door. I'm just saying maybe add some other things onto the list.
That's interesting, actually. I never thought about it that way. What makes a relationship expert a relationship expert? Do you get a degree in that?
Some people, like, because if you study, like, psychology and stuff, and then, like, you can be a relationship expert. Some people just talk about relationships so often that they consider themselves an expert.
How do you exactly?
We could call ourselves experts.
How exactly do I get that title?
Anybody could be an expert if we're being honest. Yeah. But, like, I think that, like, there are some people who, like, are, I would say, self-studied in a way where, like,
interesting.
You kind of have to just watch people's stuff, read whatever they write, and then determine, like, if their expertise is actually accurate. But yeah.
Do you have anything else? To say?
Anything else to say? I don't know. I'm exhausted this evening. I'm not gonna lie. I'm very tired.
But we were working.
Man, yeah, we was working.
I work like a dog.
Day and night. We was working.
We were working.
We was working, man. OMG.
Okay, do you think we should close?
We should close. Well, thank you if you've made it this far. We appreciate your presence. We appreciate you for listening. Just know that we are also on Spotify now. So Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen, you can tune in now. And on top of that, subscribe.
Right.
Okay. What else?
Comment.
Yes.
And share too?
Yes,
okay.
Of course. Heavy on the share. Heavy on that. Oh, wow.
Yeah, the sickness
Someone
is
is
it's
sick.
running.
Someone is sick.
All right. Bye, guys.
But yeah, that's all we got. Peace. Thank you for tuning in.